Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you on the program tonight. Um, thanks for seeing right. Happy to have you with us on the program tonight. We'd love to hear from you by phone or by email. There is, of course, the phone number up there that you can call and the email address that you can use if that's something that you feel like doing. In case the email address isn't there, it's KECHOLS47 at gmail.com. Somebody asked me, how come, well, get to that very important question in just a second. Hi, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, it's Mark from Marion.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mark, thank
That's good. Yeah, I got a few things to talk to you about tonight.
you. Okay,
Uh, you got a pad and pencil ready?
I was just picking up my pencil when you said that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the Boy Scouts in Marion, Troop 562, is going to have a stew February 22nd.
February 22nd, Boy Scouts in Mayodan.
And
Got
the
it.
number and the number and the number is 336
Mm-hmm.
949
Mm-hmm.
4248.
336 949 4248. Boy
Yeah,
Scouts.
they're going to be they're going they were a stew at the Marion Boy Scout hut on Fourth Avenue in Marion, and that guy says $9 a quart. He
Okay.
said when you call, leave it. And that man said call and leave your name and how many quarts you want, and then he'll call you back to confirm your order.
Sounds good. 336 949 4248.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Citizen D want to know what my mom did at Checkers. She's a waitress.
Okay. Citizen D was wondering about that. So she is on the wait staff at Checkers.
Yeah, no, she's supposed to have been off today. She was off yesterday. She's supposed to have been off today, but they called her in, so she's working there now.
Oh, they must have been busy today.
I don't know. uh, and then I was going to ask you something. You was talking about you go to Dollar General. Do you know when you go and you buy stuff from Dollar General, they give you a receipt, and then they give you a coupon that you can use like $5 off from Dollar General on Saturdays.
Right.
You could use that coupon at Food Line. That $5 get that $5 off from Dollar General. You can use that at Food Line.
Oh, really? Oh, that's convenient. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can do it. I guess at least in Food Line and Mid, I guess all of them do it. Somebody told mom about it, and she used it before.
All right. Well, that's good. You might need to collect a lot of those coupons to buy a dozen eggs.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I guess that takes care of everything I need to tell you about the stew and all. February 22nd, Mid Boy Scout Hut and Mid and
Okay. And
$9 a quart.
$9 a quart. Call 336 949 4248. Leave your
Yeah,
name and information and how much you want, and they will take it from there.
yeah. They'll call you. They'll call you and confirm it.
Okay. Good deal, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Take care. Thanks. Thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. Phone line is open there now at that number. Somebody asked me how come so many people have Gmail? Is what somebody asked. I'd never really given it any thought, but there are a whole lot of people with Gmail. Best answer I could come up with for the gentleman who asked me that is that Gmail is free and it works pretty much all the time. Um, and you don't have to pay anything for it. If you're one of those people, if you never clean out your inbox and it just gets bigger and bigger and it's 50,000 and 100,000 and 200,000 things in it, then then you can't. If you'd rather spend a little bit of money than go to the trouble of cleaning out your inbox, then Gmail does cost you a little bit of something for extra storage space to hold those 200,000 emails, most of which you haven't read. Uh, but just in its normal configuration, there it is. It's free and it works. And I guess that's why so many people use Gmail. I guess. Uh, Here is an emailer with an entirely different kind of question. And the question is, Ken, is that snow still on the ground at the beach, or has it melted by now? Well, I expect that snow at the beach has melted by now. Um, I'd be surprised if there's still any snow on the beach. I expect it was melted probably the day or second day after it fell. Because it's been like 65, 67 degrees at the beach. And that's not good weather for snow. So I've not gone there, I haven't been there, haven't looked. But in my opinion and estimation, that snow on the beach is almost certainly melted by now. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing, Ken?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there.
Good.
I was going to ask you, do you ever find out how much them tickets are at Bowman Gray?
I didn't. Uh, I'll see if I can. I might, if I'm lucky, I might be able to find out in the next couple of minutes here, because nobody found out and called. Are you planning to go?
No. I used to go years back in the '60s.
Just curious about the ticket prices.
Yeah, I used to get in. Yeah, I was just wondering how much it cost. I used to get in. You bring a can of food. Me and my other two brothers, we used to go and go there a lot. And plus, I had friends I went with. And,
all right, let me see
when
now.
when I was a kid.
Here's my NASCAR website. Let me see if I can find those ticket prices. That's not it. Here we go. Bowman Gray Stadium tickets. Okay, I'm seeing everything except the ticket prices. Directions, website, here, photos, events, reviews. I'm gonna keep looking. I'm not gonna make you stand there and hold the phone while I look, but I'm gonna keep looking. And
I'm gonna that's all right. I was going to ask you something else. I'm trying to think what I was going to ask you.
All right, well, think about that a second.
While you looking, let me think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
What
looking.
was I going to ask you? Oh. Darn it.
Okay, I might have it here. It says tickets.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a mailing list. We're trying to get me. Now these are tickets for the regular season Bowman Gray races. That's not for the NASCAR race. So I have not found it.
I heard it was gonna be around $1,200 each. I don't think that's true.
I hadn't heard that.
No.
Now there might be somebody. Sometimes people will buy tickets, and if something sells out, then they'll resell their tickets for some.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go. For the February 2nd, for the NASCAR Clash, the tickets start at $77. That's the cheapest is $77, and they go up to well, actually, there's $77 straight from NASCAR. But then there's a list of places here where they're reselling them. People who've bought a bunch and they resell them. And the highest price I see here is $120.
Really?
But now that's not what NASCAR charges. That's what somebody reselling the ticket is charging. But the initial price starts at $77.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna give him my score on that football game, Philadelphia Eagles and the Chiefs.
Okay, Super Bowl score. What is it?
Yeah. I'm going to say 30 to 27.
30 to 27. And I've
Uh-huh.
lost. Oh, there it is. 30 to 27. Chief. You picked the Chief, right?
Yep, I got the Chiefs. Yeah, but yeah, so I'm taking. I hope that Chiefs win. I like to see them get that 3 repeat. You know what I mean? I like to see them get because I don't, pull for neither one of them.
Well, yeah, that 3 in a row. That'd be a big thing. That
Yeah.
hasn't happened lately. Has anybody ever won the
No.
Super Bowl 3 times in a row? I don't.
No, it's never happened. No, it ain't never happened.
Now, the
No.
NFL championship, before it was the Super Bowl, it was just the NFL championship. The Packers won that 3 times in a row, but that was way long ago. So nobody's won the Super Bowl 3 in a row.
Right, that's right. And something else I was going to ask you, but I can't. I just can't. I get on here and try to talk to you, and I forget what I was going to ask you.
Well,
did you ever go to Lynrock swimming pool?
Oh, I've been to Lynrock. I haven't been to Lynrock lately, but I've been quite a few times.
I mean, years ago, did you ever go over there where they had the swimming pool and all that?
Yeah, I went. I went. Probably last time I went was when I was in high school. Have they closed? Have they closed the swimming pool?
I think they have. I ain't for sure, but I think they have.
Okay, because I didn't know.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't been in a long time, and if they closed it, I didn't notice. But I've definitely been.
I think. Yeah. What year was that when you went?
In the '60s, late '60s.
Oh, okay. I was still young then. I used to go up there, I guess in the '70s. I lifeguarded there one time with another guy.
Oh, you were a lifeguard.
I did one time, yeah. I didn't even have a license, but Mitchell got me to do it. He said because I could swim good and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got me to help another guy.
Okay, well, if I'd been there in the '70s, you might have pulled me out once or twice.
No, I never did have to pull nobody.
I was not a real good swimmer.
No, I didn't have to pull nobody out. But anyway, I just wondered if you ever went, because I used to go years ago. I just wondered what year you went. I know I was about I was born in '55. I went in the '70s. I should have seen you sometime or something.
Well, no, you wouldn't have seen me. I didn't go. Probably the late '60s was the last time I went.
Oh, okay. I didn't ever see you there.
Because I didn't live
anyway,
in Eden. I lived in Reedsville, so I didn't go to
Lynrock
a whole lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to ask you since you said that. Did you ever hear anything about Short Sugars if they go open back up?
I have not heard that they're going to open it back up. Maybe somebody will take it over, but I haven't heard.
Well, I took my vehicle to the Nissan place, and one of the guys in there does the service work. He said that he rode by there and saw a reef on the door.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. Yeah, and I said, well, I thought they just closed for remodeling. But,
well,
he said he rode by and said it was a reef and ain't been open since.
No, I don't think they're planning to reopen it unless somebody else buys it.
Buys it, yeah. Okay, well, I'll get off the phone and let somebody else call in.
Well, thank you for calling.
And I want Draper quit fighting them alligators too.
Well, I'll bet the alligators hope the same thing.
Well, I got pictures of him sitting on top of them and everything. I know that.
I've seen one. I've seen one of those. He emailed me one of those pictures.
Yeah. He used to tell me that instead of, because it was against the law to get them, but they'd be in a boat and he'd stab them with a knife instead of shooting them. He'd stab them.
Like quieter that way.
So, yeah, well, you wouldn't get caught either. It was against the law too. He said, I believe back then.
Yeah, well, I think probably his alligator wrestling days are over.
Yeah, I know it.
He
was a stout boy back in. He was stout back in.
He sits around now and just reflects on his past glories.
Yes, sir, he does. Well, anyway, I'll let you go, Ken. Let somebody else call in. It's good talking to you, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks. Good night. Yep, those Bowman Gray tickets start at $77. Somebody else was wondering about this. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what the situation is with tickets now, whether the ticket resellers have all of them now or not. In this day and time, as often as not, when you go online, go to Ticketmaster or someplace to try to buy a ticket for something, a concert or something, you find out that the resellers have all the tickets. You can't even buy a ticket in many cases from the box office of the venue anymore. You got to go buy them from resellers. They get really, really expensive in that case. I wish they wouldn't do that, but they do. Phone line is open. You can give us a call at that number. The email address is kechols47@gmail.com. And let's check email here. This emailer says, oh, this is about the ticket price. It says, Ken, the ticket prices start at $77 for the Flash at Bowman Gray. And thank you, emailer. I appreciate your help on that. And that's same thing that I found. $77 is where they start. That's the face value of the ticket. But of course, you might have to pay more than that. You end up getting it from a reseller. Um, Ken, how can you? Oh, here's another emailer wondering how I can be as stupid as I am. How can you live as close to Lynrock as you live and not even know whether they still have the swimming pool or not? Don't you pay attention? Well, apparently not to that. Evident. I pay attention to certain things, uh, but there's a lot of stuff going on. I can't pay attention to all of it. You miss things, and I don't drive down that way a whole lot. It's not on like a through street. So I don't have a whole lot of occasion to drive past Lynrock. So things can happen down there, and I miss them. I do miss out on some of the stuff that goes on down there on the banks of the Smith River. Um, so I'm just that's how I am. I'm slow. I'm not always entirely connected to the world. But I'm connected enough to answer this question. Ken, tell me again, what was that phone number that Mark gave you for the Boy Scouts, Stu? I didn't have anything to write it down with. Give me that number again, says the emailer. It's in the great book right here. That number is 336-949-4248 is the number. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I was watching news too this evening, Ken, and I never realized it could happen, but evidently it can. But they had this segment on there about people going through drive-throughs, to order food.
Yeah.
And they pay for it with either a debit card or a credit card or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And the lady was doing the part on the news. She said that that's not a good idea anymore because some people now, as you go through the drive-through, when you hand them your card, they take it inside. They photograph in the front of it and the back of it and hand the card back. And some of the people going through the drive-through that just handed a card to saying that they're getting a lot of charges on their card that they hadn't been making.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that could happen, but evidently it can.
Well, in this day and time, and I don't want to, I don't want it to sound like that we're making accusations against fast food workers here, because we're not. Most fast food workers are honest and honorable and do the right thing. But almost anywhere in a fast food restaurant or anywhere else, you could run into somebody that you don't want to trust with that. And now that everybody's got a phone, every person in the world is walking around with a camera in their pocket all day long. So it would be a simple matter. Somebody's got your credit card and they're not in your line of sight. It'll take 6 seconds or less for them to take those pictures. So that's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, I've been out to a bunch of restaurants, kid, and I've seen people that I go out with, or with, and they'll hand them their card, and the waitress or waiter will walk back, come back, and come back, give them a receipt and their card. And I've often wondered, I said, why do you do that? Why don't you just pay with cash? But most people don't carry cash anymore, I don't guess. But I just never. I've always had a funny feeling about that thing anyway.
Well, I'm one of those people. I almost never carry cash anymore. Um, and even in a restaurant, of course, you're taking a risk. You're probably taking a bigger risk at a drive-through. Um, well, I don't know. Maybe it's not a bigger risk at a drive. It's a risk anywhere you go. So,
Yeah.
thank goodness most people are honest and won't do that. But I guess especially at drive-through, if you can remember to take a little cash with you and use it, it's not a bad idea to do that.
Yeah, that's what I think. Another thing, Ken, I watching CBS Evening News this evening tonight, and they were saying, and I didn't know this was legal either, but they were acting like in some states, I think this was in New Jersey, where if you are terminally ill, you can pay a doctor a certain amount of money to end your life, as you wish to do it, knowing you're terminally ill. Is that legal in this country?
I don't know what states. I cannot tell you the circumstance in every state of the union, but that would be a state law. If a state wants to make that legal, then a state can do that. And they were talking about New Jersey.
Right. Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, again, I don't know for sure whether New Jersey has legalized it or not. I don't know, but certainly a state could if a state was inclined to do that.
Well, personally, Ken, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, if I've seen people die, and I've seen people suffer for months at a time before they do take their last breath. And myself, if I was in that situation, I knew that my days were limited, and all you're doing is relying on drugs to stay alive anyway, as far as pain or whatever, like a cancer patient or whatever. I wouldn't be against that personally.
It's a hard thing, and boy, I'm really saying the least there. What a hard thing if you're not the one who's in that situation. I mean, who really knows um, how much pain someone can be in, how much somebody can be suffering, uh, and if they know they're never going to get out of that hospital bed, and their life's going to end in a short time anyway. Um, I don't know that I would do it. I'm not saying I would do it. I don't know that I would. I probably wouldn't actually.
Right.
But it's a hard thing to tell someone else that they're not allowed.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be a personal choice myself, Ken. I mean, that's very controversial, but uh, another aspect of it too is if you know you're terminally ill and the doctors have done told you it's pretty much over or it is over, and look at the expense you're going to accumulate in hospital fees and doctor fees and whatever, and nothing's going to, the outcome's still going to be the same.
And in a way, it is. I'm not going to say there's no difference, uh, but it is very similar to a situation you might make. I mean, suppose you're on life. Suppose there's a machine is keeping you alive,
Right.
and that machine is the only thing that's keeping you alive. and you know that you will never take another breath or live another 5 minutes without that machine. Uh, and you decide to turn off the machine. Uh, there's no point in just being here, and mo- most likely it would be somebody else, not you, who would make that decision, but you could make it in advance. So,
Right.
is there a difference? Is there a is there a moral difference between turning off the machine and allowing someone to die, and having a doctor give them an injection that causes them to die? I guess
Right.
that's another part of the debate, another part of the controversy.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way I look at it too, Ken. I mean, it's up to the individual, But on the news tonight, they gave this lady. She was in New Jersey, and she had consented to it and whatever. But they gave her something to drink, and she knew that she was terminal, and she knew it was over with pretty much. And they said it took anywhere from 5 minutes to pass, or some people it took up to 5 hours. But they knew once they drank it, I mean, they wouldn't be in any pain or anything like that, and it was pretty much over.
Yep, I know, I understand. I still don't know if I would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to be there, and maybe I will be there at some point, and I guess then I'll find out. But
Yeah.
anyways, as far as the states, I don't know how many states it's legal. I'll look it up, see if I can find out.
Okay. All right, Ken. Have a good weekend, man. I really enjoy your show.
Thanks for calling. Phone line is open, and you somebody. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, thank you. Hey, me and old Early Bird, we go way back.
Yeah.
Like about graded school. And his oldest brother is probably maybe 2 years older than me, and his other brother's a year older than me, and I think he's a year younger than me. But we all hung out pretty much, kinda, and hung out at his mom's house. I mean, they liked to come, liked us all hanging out there and just playing rook and cards and board games, and just everybody having a good time. And that's back when we was real young.
Yeah.
And I think I told you we always fought after school behind his mama's house.
Yeah.
And yeah, and yeah, he's been around a lot. He sure has. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. But first thing, one of the first things that helped turn me on to automotive power
Uh-huh.
was his older brother got a '69 Chevelle Super Sport
Oh, yeah.
that had a 396, 325 horsepower. And it came from a factory with a 3-speed in the floor. And we was coming through across 14 there, coming up Aiken Road, and those S curves there, coming back toward Draper.
I know the ones.
The S curves. Well, coming out of the second one, he hit the gas, and the car lifted the front end and drove straight across the yellow lines like it's going down that embankment on the left.
Yeah.
And he let off the gas, and the front tires caught and shot us to the right, and then we went on like we were supposed to. But we couldn't believe that just the power of that engine made the car go straight instead of it follow the front tires and turn.
I'm telling you, those I never had one of those General Motors 396s. But I rode in a couple, and they would go.
Yeah, I had a L88 in my '69 Chevelle, and that was a 427, 435 from the factory.
Mm.
But I had a 454 block with the L88 cam, which really made a little over 450 horsepower.
Wow.
Then GM couldn't advertise that much because of insurance and stuff like that. But some even said it made up around 500. But we put that big cam and all in that 454, and I had the same engine. Nobody in town would race me. They couldn't outrun me.
Well, that sounds pretty stout, the way you described it.
Well, it was. I went down to Squats one night where we was going to race, and we wasn't going to race. We were just riding down by that way. And the state man happened to be sitting on the side of the road before you get to that triangle there.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, here he comes with the blue lights on. And because when I saw him, I pushed the clutch in so it'd just be idling when I went by. And he pulled me over. He said, "I'm going to impound this car." I said, "What for?" He said, "For having an alternate engine in it." I said, "What's an alternate engine?" He said, "Strictly for drag racing." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Look on this registration." It had my mom's name on it.
Yeah.
I said, "This is my mom's car." And he said, "Well, I can't take it because your mom's not here, but I'm going to give you a loud muffler ticket. You rattle the windows in my car when you rode by."
Did you have a thrush muffler on there?
I may have had, I don't know if I had the thrush of what I had. I can't really remember. But it was just loud. Before I got home, I'd cut it off 1/4 mile up the hill and drift to the house, pull up in the driveway and look over the bank and stop before I hit the oak tree with no power brakes on. So
Now,
I didn't wake up the family and all the neighborhood.
I assume that even with all that power, I assume that you always obeyed the posted speed limit.
Well, yeah, except, that car runs so good. I could be running 10 mile an hour and pull it back in second gear and spin both back tires as far as I wanted to.
I'm not. I
Perfect
don't doubt
figure
it.
S, a perfect figure S, throw it in third, perfect figure S, and go on to fourth. And it's just, yeah. Now my airboat's like that. It's just on water. The law can't get me for spinning my tires on the water.
So what'd you get, about 8 miles a gallon with that?
I don't even know back then. It was but 26 cents a gallon. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
No, it really didn't. It didn't. That part didn't really matter.
That's crazy
But,
to think about now.
Trump signed into law today that Lake and Riley
Lake and Riley.
law.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and so that's a really good thing. There, it's a big deal on Fox News. I don't know what the other channels might have showed.
Well, I didn't watch any channels. I just read about it online.
Yeah, I watched it all day. Then I watched the JFK deal all day till about 12:30 when it was over.
That's RFK.
And, yeah, RFK. They
Different
drilled
guy.
him. Some of them Democrats really drilled him.
Well, I don't know about him. It's going to be close whether he makes it or not.
Well, I thought maybe J.D. Vance may have to make the decision.
Well, he's had to do that once already.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll let you go, and you have a good weekend, and take care and all that.
Thanks. Good night. Phone line is open. There's a number up there. If you'd like to call, you can also send us an email at aechols47@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way, by phone or by email. It's Pretty Man again. Hello, Ken. I am Pretty Man. That's he always wants to make sure that I know who he is. Hello, Ken. I am Pretty Man. I need to correct the score I gave you. Yeah, I think you do. You do need to correct that score. We'll get back to that in a second. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening to you, Ken.
Good evening.
Sir, I have a quick question. But
Okay.
first, let me begin this by making this statement to your audience, and that is, I promise this is the last time I'll bring this up in this arena.
Okay.
Moving on from there, my question is, sir, did you read that opinion? And if you did, what are your thoughts?
I did read it. I did read the Rehnquist opinion. My thoughts are I guess the overriding thought is clearly in our nation, states have a right. States have a right to allow municipalities to have extraterritorial jurisdiction. The opinion from Rehnquist, for those who haven't read it, which is I guess pretty much everybody who hasn't read it, the opinion was basically this: that cities have a right to that, because things that happen on the perimeter of the cities can have a profound effect on what happens in the city. And that's the basis of their right to extraterritorial jurisdiction. And then the other side of the argument is, well, if those people can be affected by the city, why can't they vote? Why can't those people vote in municipal elections? And Rehnquist said, well, that's not necessary because they don't have enough of an interest in all of the things that go on in a city to justify giving the right to vote in municipal elections. And that's what I got out of the opinion. Did I miss something important?
Well, did you recall the quote about falling farther rather than nearer?
No, I don't remember exactly where that was.
Okay. Well, clearly there's more to that than you actually saw.
Well, there's a whole lot more than I actually just talked about. But the drift of it was, for example, he said, well, people who live in the ETJ zone say because because the city can affect what happens to them, that they have an interest, they ought to have the right to vote. And then he brought up the examples what a city could do a lot of things, build a sewage treatment plant or a lot of things at the edge of the city that would affect the people outside, but that doesn't mean they'd have a right to vote. Now, the farther rather than nearer quote, somehow I did not see that. It's a long opinion, and I guess I must have missed that part.
Yes, it's necessary for you to read the entire opinion.
Okay.
Because there are parts that clearly you did not see. And I will quote what those parts say to you in effect, that they also go on to say that in this case, and I quote, the evidence is clear, concrete, and concise. However, even though the evidence is clear, concrete, and concise, we rule against them, for we find they fall farther rather than nearer.
All right. I remember clear, concrete, and concise. I know that he did acknowledge that if you live just outside the city in an ETJ zone, he acknowledged that the city can do things that will affect your property values and cause you inconvenience. He acknowledged all that.
And that you have no say in that.
That, right. He said you don't have any say in that because, and then again, he brought up the example of things that a city could do within its own city limits that would also reduce your property values if you live next to the city and cause you inconvenience. And he said that does not require a right to vote on the part of the person who lives outside the city. So if that doesn't require a right to vote, then this doesn't either. The exact words farther rather than nearer, I don't remember those, but I think I followed his reasoning, I think, correctly.
Okay, well, now, that's fine. That's fine. Now, here's the important piece of this puzzle that you still haven't reached.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you've read an incomplete, but let's say very marginal explanation for why it is okay for this to happen.
Okay.
That at the end of the day, he does acknowledge that there is a group of people that are subject to a rule in which they have no voice in.
He does.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not tyrannical rule?
Tyrannical rule is tyrannical rule.
Go ahead. Is that tyrannical rule or not?
Tyrannical rule is what the court says it is. If you ask me, okay, now hold on a second. If you ask me, just sitting right here and hearing that people are in that situation and that they are told, yes, we acknowledge that you are in the very situation that you described. The very problem that you claim is a real problem. We acknowledge that and we agree with you on that, but you can't do anything about it, and we're not we're not going to do anything about it. Uh, if you ask me, that's wrong. That is ethically and socially and philosophically wrong. I agree with you on that. Is it tyrannical? Again, the court decides what's tyrannical.
Okay. Now, to bring this, and I'm sure people want me to shut up, and
No,
I
they don't.
appreciate that.
No, they
But to bring this to a conclusion, what brought this comment from me a week or so ago back was a comment that I had made where you asked me directly if I thought the courts and the Constitution protected me. My response at the time was no, that we have proof right here where the Supreme Court has said, yeah, it's not constitutional, but that's tough.
Well, they agreed with. If you'd been the one arguing, they would have agreed with every point of your argument. Everything you said is wrong with this. They would have said, "Yeah, you're right. That's wrong." Until they got to the very last point, which is, do you have a legal claim against the city for a right to vote or do something to compensate you here? And of course, then they'd say, no, you don't.
Right. Now, to cut it short, and I'm sorry, folks, but the message here is clear. You know, I don't expect ETJs to go away. I know they're not going to. But what I do think the most important point that everybody needs to understand is simply this. Don't think for a minute that the Constitution protects you, because you have clear evidence where the court has said, yeah, you're supposed to have something different than what you got, but oh well.
Well, the Constitution does not protect you from extraterritorial jurisdiction. That has been settled, at least for now. Someday there might be another case with a different set of justices and a different outcome. But right now, you can't do anything about it.
I know. So in effect, people, we are subject to taxation without representation. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. Mr. ETJ is, of course, as I'm sure you have gathered, lives in an area that is subject to extraterritorial jurisdiction, and he doesn't like it, nor does anybody, I wouldn't imagine, like it if they live in those areas. But Supreme Court says it's okay. It's what the Supreme Court said. And they have the last word. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I have a subject I speak on.
Okay.
Speaking on character also. Now, Trump and Vance falsely accuse immigrants of eating people dogs. Okay. That will say it. Why would they appoint someone over the health of our country whose own family said he would kill dogs and eat the meat? Now, they also reveal he would take live birds and put them in a blender and feed them to his hogs. Now, he has owned up to where he sawed off the head of a whale and taking it home to eat, plus riding around with a carcass in the back of his pickup and dumping it in the park. Even your caller previously said that this man is nuts, and the caller was a Republican. Okay. of intelligence, of all the intelligence, smart Republicans, who does Trump pick? And that's the worst. He chose Herschel Walker, Sanchez, and Mark Robertson. He pushed Herschel Walker, but had no position for Mark Walker. Everyone knows RFK is a nut. Is it he picked people, talking about Trump, too dumb and crazy to question any of his action? Now, RFK want to deny vaccine and to many people, but he acknowledged today that he had his family vaccinated. And so just think, Ken, live birds in a blender, and this lady out on the West Coast that was shooting ghosts. Why is he picking the worst that the party has to offer?
Well, let me say one quick thing. I don't think the previous caller said that RFK is nuts. I missed.
No, this was back when he was running for a three-way party.
Oh, okay.
Not tonight.
Not
yeah,
tonight.
that's
All
back when. Yeah, don't you remember back when he was running as an independent? And we were speaking of the chances of people getting a nomination. And one of your callers said, you brought his name up, and one of the callers said, that man is nuts. Say he's crazy.
I do remember that. Now, as far as the rest of it, I honestly don't know why President Trump would have picked RFK to head the Department of Health and Human Services. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why. It seems a very
and I mean it's sharp people in the party, and some people that had a doctor's degree and all, but you know, that's just like the choice with Hasek. They said he would get so drunk, he'd go to these strip clubs, he'd get so drunk, he'd jump up on the stage and want to dance with the dancers. So I don't understand these choices. But now a lot of people complain about choice. But one thing they don't complain about the people that Charles choose to work for him. You and Mark and the gentleman in Marsville. All of you all do and have done a fantastic job. So that's one thing we have to give Charles credit for. But these choices for appointment is something to behold. And I thank you for your time, Ken.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. Phone line is open. We've got, just a few minutes left for your phone calls and your emails. And I better finish Pretty Man's email with telling what he'll do if I don't. What was he saying? Pretty Man was saying, I need to amend my score from last night. If you missed it last night, Pretty Man picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and he picked the score. The score that Pretty Man predicts is 3,311 to 28. So now, fast forward to tonight, and Pretty Man wants to change that. But you need to blah 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 blah. When I was preparing my email last night and prepared my score, the key must have done twice when I only thought it was going to do once. And that's how I got the score, which probably will not be the actual score. No, I agree. It probably will not be the actual score. I am changing my score prediction to these numbers. And these numbers are 31 for Kansas City and 28 for Philadelphia. Please disregard my predicted score of whatever the other one was. It was 33-11 to 28. All right, pretty man. Thank you very much. I'm not going to read the rest of his email because it honestly, it makes no sense. But I actually had already disregarded your predicted score last night. That was in the disregarded pile as soon as I saw it last night. So Pretty Man's actual prediction for the Super Bowl is Kansas City 31 and Philadelphia 28. Not that other score that you might have heard last evening. Just about out of time. I think I have another email or two here. Again, I sure hope somebody will buy Short Sugars and get it running again. I don't hear anything that says somebody will, but I hope they will because I really will miss going to Short Sugars. And then last night, where you were talking about the drive-ins in Eden, is the Circle Drive-In still in operation? I have not been through that part of Eden in a long, long time. But somebody told me that the Circle Drive-In is still in operation. Is that right? That is right. Emailer. The Circle Drive-In is still up and running. Right down the not right down the hill from here, but not too far down the hill from where I sit is the Circle Drive-In. Circle Drive-In is still there, and Dick's, of course, is still there, and still very, very, very good. Not a whole lot of places left where you can go and sit in your car and eat, but we still got those. And then this emailer says, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand this one, emailer. I don't know what you're saying, and it's too late now to try to figure it out. I'm sorry. Rewrite that, please, and send it to me. We'll try it next week. Don't forget the current stew, the current available stew, or soon to be available stew, is from the Boy Scouts in Mayodan. It'll be on February the 22nd. It's $9 a quart. The number to call is 336-949-4248. 336-949-4248. And you call that number, you'll get an answering machine. Call that number, say who you are and how much stew you want, and of course your phone number will then be there, and they will call you back to confirm all the details of your order, and that's coming up on February 22nd. That's kind of the only stew we have in the hopper right now, and that's all the time we have for Star Talk tonight. We are on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Kenneth